Can you be pro-black and date a white and marry a white woman?
Yeah.
Okay. And you say yes to?
Yeah, I sure did. So what do you mean by pro-black? So y'all ain't going to Walmart or Target?
Well, for sure, it would take marrying somebody in our community because that's what our community needs.
Yeah.
Guess I'm not for the culture then.
These individuals, if hold on. I'm not riding the bus. Nobody's riding the bus. And if you see somebody riding the bus, call them out.
Marriage is such a big part of the
huge.
community.
Sure. It's a huge.
So we can't neglect that and not act like it doesn't mean something.
Yeah.
So who you marry does really say a lot about how you feel about the community.
And up, I always wanted to pull a yellow bone, pull a red bone. Oh snap, I've been rejecting y'all based off of color.
As a black man, if you speak on what you like and then take that opportunity and say, well, black women are always nagging, they're always on your head. Communicate it's okay for not just other black men to devalue black women. It's okay for other people to devalue black women.
As relationships, I have an individualistic mindset.
Okay.
I'm for the black community to an extent. I'm always trying to figure out who is this woman in front of me.
Our community is in a pandemic. Like, we need more black marriages. The reason I won't date black women is because negative.
For sure.
That mindset being popular amongst men and specifically black men, that's damaging our community.
Do you feel black women are approachable?
Black women have to get this mindset that all men are just gonna be out there doing I'm about to go shoot my shot. How come you're not talking to me? We're in the same room.
Okay.
Most of the men that you're gonna deal with are not aggressive in nature. A lot of these men feel rejected already and they don't want to add to that little bit more rejection.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? Does the man feel like he has the ability to approach?
Oh, that's good.
Because the standing he's in is not enough. So the average black man is not enough based on society standards and even in the church's community standards from black women for the average black woman.
Ooh.
We feel like we gotta work in order to deserve somebody to want us and to need us and to finally love us, which is the same issue a lot of these men have been having with their mothers in the first place.
The reason I don't get approached is because men are intimidated by it. How true is this statement?
When you tell me you don't need me for anything, you've minimized my value as a being and an image bearer.
Yeah.
One thing that a man wants is to be needed.
Ooh! Y'all hear that?
And if you're telling me
Slow down.
but somebody's gonna take pictures with you and look good with you, then you've diminished my value as an image bearer.
Yeah.
Because I have this status, you have to meet me where I'm at type of mindset. And it's like, you could have that status and I could meet you there, but if I get there, will Christ be there?
Ooh.
What are we talking about, children of God? Maybe you never been with a rich devil.
Why aren't you married already?
How real should I be?
4 words, we need to talk.
Any trouble that someone goes through, they definitely have to look on the other side and say, I'm going to make it out of this and I'm going to be better than I was before.
Dare yourself to believe, even if that truth stands at odds with my past. I'm going to say it, I'm going to believe it, and I'm going to walk in there.
Guys, I am so excited to have all 3 of you here. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I just want you to go one by one and introduce yourself. I already know that you guys are black men. We can see that. So say your name, how old you are, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Well, my name is Caleb Eberly Berry, and I am 33.
Okay.
My name is Elisha McCall, and I'm 30.
Street Hymns, 33 years young. You feel me?
Good. And you guys also have a podcast, all 3 of you guys together. Yes, which one of you would like to tell us about that?
Black Men Do Talk, have an overdue conversation from a black man's perspective. We have a lot of different topics that we go over, whether it be dating, politics, church leadership, just a lot of different things. And we also have audiences come through to our podcast so they can also give their input during our hot seat. And so we try to create an environment for the community.
I love
That's
it.
Black Men DUE.
There we go.
Talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this all from, I do know that you guys are all Christian. Is your podcast from a Christian's perspective, or do you just allow anything that a black man can talk about?
Yeah, as believers, even if we have conversations where our co-host may not be a believer or the conversation may not be even like church-led, we always come from a biblical Christian foundation at heart. Yeah.
I love it.
But we do get ignorant.
Well, I'm sure it can, just a little bit. All right, so we're gonna jump straight into it.
Already.
All right, and this is for all three of you, if you would like to answer, or you could leave one person to answer. Okay, so how has your upbringing influenced the way you choose to date? And I strictly mean culture-wise. White women, black women, Hispanic women. How has your culture influenced that? Your upbringing influenced who you date in culture-wise?
I would say for me, like growing up, so nobody in my family actually has dated anybody outside of, or even married to anybody outside our race.
Okay.
But at one point, a lot of my family were really big on, we only want you dating black women, And so, but as time went on, I think as they continued to grow, they were open to, dating other ethnicities. And so that freedom has continued to stick with me ever since then. So like I'm open to all.
And when you say you're open, what is your preference?
Preference? Black women and Latinas.
Okay.
But I will date white women. I will date Asians. Like, yeah.
Okay. And how often have you found yourself dating a black woman or a Latino or an Asian woman?
If I look back at all the people that I've dated, the majority of them have been black. I think 2 Latinas. Yeah. 2 Latinas. I haven't dated a lot either.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and then like maybe 1 or 2 white women as well, but I was a kid, so white girl.
All right, so you still got that in the back of your mind. All right, we're gonna come back to that.
For sure.
All right, next.
Yeah. Why are you? Why are you laughing, bro? This is not our show. You can't act this way,
bro. I guarantee
I laughed
you.
at you.
Back in the timestamp, we both laughed at the same time.
I laughed slightly after you.
It was
but
synchronicity. Go ahead.
Anyways, yeah. For me, I mean, culturally, I grew up black household. Mom and dad both black. A lot of my time was spent immersed in black culture, but at the same time, I did have a lot of opportunities to be exposed to different cultures. I think my parents did a really good job of almost kind of setting like a home base culturally, but then saying, hey, we want you to go out and explore. And so I think that gave me an openness to life. But when it came to like romantically, like dating, I don't even know if there ever was like a time where I was like, I would be open to marrying, outside of my race. But I've always been primarily attracted, almost exclusively attracted to black women. Now, growing up, 7th grade, I went to a dance with a white girl.
Okay.
7th grade,
We ain't
right?
gonna count that.
Yeah. 8th grade, I think I dated a Latina, so I was on my Caleb. But it for me, it's always been, I don't know if it's subconscious or what it is, but I've always been extremely, almost exclusively attracted to black women, especially from a long-term perspective. And then I went to HBCU.
Okay.
So that was kind of like a wrap.
Yeah.
I was like, there's plenty of different black women out here. I don't need
you
to explore.
You got all kind of flavors. Yeah, 31 flavors.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Yeah. So to the question, how has culture impacted how I specifically dated or had preference? I think that I was heavily influenced by culture into fetishizing like light-skinned women and foreign women. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, I always wanted to pull a yellow bone, pull a red bone, date the Latina, date the foreign chick, the bad chick, because like that's all the music was talking about. That's all the homies. When you got to pull a girl like that, like you was up. And it was probably in the last like 4 years, right around COVID happening, we started having like the Clubhouse conversations, and I had like a conversation where we just start talking to our sisters who are dark skinned, and hearing them speak and then feel and have validation in being rejected by their own people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like black men, and me not even logically ever putting it together like, oh snap, I've been legitimately rejecting y'all based off of color.
Yeah.
And it was around that time. The tough part was I couldn't just shift my attraction, because attraction is not a choice.
Yes.
But what I started to do was I started to shift my perspective, my environment. And I realized that after even though I couldn't change my attraction, by shifting my environment, shifting my perspective in my environment, my attraction soon changed and shifted. So I now have a deep love and attraction to dark-skinned Black women, and I have been missing out my entire life.
Right.
Yeah, dog.
Hello?
It's amazing over here, bro.
But yeah, so I say that culture definitely impacted me to a negative, and I don't think the fetishization part gets talked about enough in how culture influences how we'll like a certain race or a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And it actually ruins how we operate, especially when we're talking about in the body of Christ. That's hurtful. Yeah.
No, I look at it as when growing up, it was my mother and my sister and other members of my family that would tell me I was beautiful because I didn't get that in school. And now that we have social media, so many things that I see now in society that I'm like, wow, if I had this growing up, seeing other dark-skinned women and seeing them in a positive light, because, if you look at TV shows, even with Martin, Pam was considered the ugly one. And Pam ain't even ugly. Like, we talk about her B2Bs. As far as I'm concerned, like, she was bomb. So any TV show that would show a dark-skinned girl back in like the 80s and early 90s, it wasn't looked into a positive light.
Right.
Caleb, I want to go back to you because I find I find that you are the one that says you will date outside of your race, and I definitely want Elijah and Street to kind of chime in on this. Do you guys look at him as like, not a sellout, I definitely don't want to say that, but look at him like you missing out a little bit, or you a little, I won't say racist, but you like, what you doing, man? Do you got have they ever met anybody outside of your race that you've dated, and have they, or because they know your preference, what do you guys think about that of him?
Let's get it.
I promise he's still gonna be your friend afterwards, right? Tell him you still gonna love him afterwards, because they might be hesitant to speak. All right, so we got that out the way.
Look,
we got that out the way.
We've been here too long.
We've been way too much.
All right. Well, now
They know what this is.
Yeah.
all right. Well, then y'all
We
can't
know how
hold
to
back.
tick each other off.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say that being that I have so much context and I know who he is and how he is.
Okay.
As he communicates preference and then also says, even though I have a preference for Black women, asterisk, Latinas, you know what I'm saying? There is the openness because I see the beauty in, and I am attracted to all other races, which includes white women. And also having the context of like knowing who he's dated, and I'm like, okay, well, I see that obviously when you even date certain people or certain types of people, it either is like something you stick with or it's like you get strayed from, and I don't know. I think that when it comes to the Black community, I think the big issue for me is that there is this fight against the perspective that we are actually a community in the first place.
Ooh.
Which would say that we have a common goal.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people within the Black community who are individualistic, and because you're individualistic, you'll have individual goals, and those individual goals don't necessarily speak towards the community. But I would even say, what would be the community goal?
Yeah.
I have my perspective of what community goals could be, can be, and should be, but for somebody else who also is in a place where it's like, yeah, I hear that, but even before I'm Black community, I am kingdom.
Okay.
And Christian kingdom. If the person I fall in love with, the person I'm with, is somebody who does not look like me, but benefits the common goal of where I'm going, I can't blame nobody for making a decision
I
like
agree
that.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, he said a lot. There a lot of good stuff. The only thing I would add is I think obviously the context of knowing Caleb helps a lot. But what I appreciate about Caleb in his communication of his preference is he can communicate what he likes without devaluing somebody else.
Okay.
And I think that's what I hear a lot from, Black men who tend to go to like white women and it's interesting because it's always white women, right? It's always the comparison between black women and white women. That's always been very interesting. But like his ability to say, hey, I may want this, but you are still beautiful, you are still valuable, and you still bring something to the table is just maybe not what I prefer.
Okay.
I think that's very important. I think, for black men out there who maybe have a preference to white women, I think it's very important that you understand how you communicate what you like isn't just something that impacts you or the person that you may date. As a black man, if you speak on what you like and then take that opportunity and say, well, black women are always nagging, they're always on your head, they never do this or this. What you then communicate is it's okay for not just other black men to devalue black women. It's okay for other people to devalue black women. And I think that is kind of where I've drawn an issue when I hear a lot of black men speak that way, is because it's okay that you may not prefer that, right? I'm not going to sit here and say, you're not a real black man if you don't marry a black woman. No, I would never do that. But I don't think it's okay when we go the route of devaluing black women to just communicate.
To uplift, because that automatically uplifts another side.
It automatically uplifts it. But then I also wonder if men are supposed to be the leaders of our community, how can we lead a community, but we're not even seeing value in what we're leading?
I would even. Oh, you have something to say, Caleb?
Well,
And this
is
about you.
For sure. No, for sure.
You got all respect.
And that's exactly where I'm at, especially when. So before I actually get into what Elisha just said, I'm gonna speak on what he just said. He brought up the community mindset and then that individual mindset. When it concerns relationships, I have an individualistic mindset.
Okay.
I'm for the black community to an extent.
Explain.
You know what I'm saying? Depending on like what are we like?
What's
what
the
are
issue?
we talking about? If we're talking about relationships and the black communities, if our goal is we want to raise up black families, I'm like, cool, but that's only if I find a woman that's black and I'm attracted to her and I'm for her and I marry her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I'm really big on, all right, Lord, how have you wired me? What do I like? And if what's in front of me is if it's white, if it's Hispanic, if it's Asian, that's what I like in the moment. And so, because I don't generalize the white community, I don't generalize, depending on like what topics we're having, I don't generalize it. I'm always trying to figure out who is this woman in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And so with that helps me. And I never look at her in comparison to somebody else. I'm never going to look at a white woman and be like, well, you better than these black women. Okay. Heck no. Like, I think that's degrading. I think that's disrespectful to the Imago Dei, and just dishonoring to the Lord as a whole. And so I won't do that. But again, even when I'm dating a black woman, I will never be like, oh, I'm dating you because you're better than whatever ethnicity this is. It's like, that don't make no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I would lean more towards community. But one thing I do not like is, as I speak to people that are part of my community, it's almost like you can't communicate where you're going without the degrading.
Right.
And there's a lot of degrading of our white brothers and sisters in Christ that I can't stand for.
For sure.
But when it comes to the mindset of what does it mean to sustain and raise the black dollar, raise the black household, I think it's important that, especially someone who works in urban communities and talks to youth, a lot of times when we work in these nonprofits, the black men they do see come in there with white women. And it's like, okay, what is it for a child who never actually
see
sees
that? Yeah.
somebody who is looking like him
Yeah.
and has a relationship with somebody who looks like their mom? That don't happen, because for them, black means conflict. Black means he's supposed to leave. Black means this relationship don't work. And so I think it's important that our communities actually see relationships that look like us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I think black love is important in that aspect for the community. So I would say I'm more community mindset, and when it comes to relationships, but I also understand why he's individualistic.
Yeah, I'm saying yes to you, Street Hymns, because, of course, I'm kind of pro-black. But I'm also looking at the fact of when when I think about me being with somebody, even if it wasn't my husband, if I was with, I would want to date another black man, because I would think I would want somebody to understand, my struggles, or I don't want to have to explain during the times when I wore wigs and weave what that mean to pull it off and put it back on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have to explain, no, I wear a scarf because I would want someone to understand what it's like to be Black.
Right.
So with Caleb, do you find that might be a struggle, especially with, all the things that we've had, because we have social media so big, with all the things that happen in society today, the George Floyd and, the politics and explaining all that. Do you find that that's ever an issue with dating outside of your race, with having to explain the Black struggle? Because if you are really not in the struggle, you can't understand it.
For sure.
I do not understand what it's like to, what Cinco de Mayo means to Hispanics, because that's not a part of my culture. Yeah. So how do you balance that?
Hold up. Before you keep watching, click the subscribe button. I'll wait. Nah, seriously, subscribe right now. Also, like and share this video. The more you like, share, comment, and engage with this video, the more we're able to produce content just like this. And also, we got this merch. The link is in description. If you want to support the channel, you can also donate. That's also in the description. The more you guys support, the more we're able to produce content just like this. Thank you again. Peace.
Yeah, so like I've had conversations with people of other ethnicities when it concerns those type of issues. And one of the things that I've seen is like you do have these ones that are completely like, yeah, I don't understand. That don't make no sense. Yeah. This ain't really happening. That's not really injustice, different things like that. And then you got some other folks that's just like, no, I hear that. And I can see how that's injustice. I can see how George was treated. I can see these things. So they can like empathize like with you, you know what I'm saying, in that. And so for me, I would go that route.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Way quicker than this one. I don't mind explaining.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with it just because it's like the Lord has created so many different people, and he's created us with different languages, different cultures, different ways of doing things, different traditions, all these things. And I'm like, man, like to be able to merge and just come together and grow and learn from one another, I think that's just a beautiful thing. And so if that's the route that I decide to take, then cool. You know what I'm saying? But again, like, would it be easier to date a Black woman? Yes. Yeah. Be a lot easier. We have so much in common. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We have so much that we can like, we have so much in common, and we can have so many different ways that we can encourage each other. That's going to be a little different for other people from other ethnicities. But at the same time, again, it's like, I think they both have their beauties.
Okay.
I was just going to say, you look at it, three Black men who, not just as a group, but as individuals, typically don't agree with culture across the board on anything.
Yeah.
Like, we go Bible first, and then we start going perspective. Okay. So I would say, like, even in a lot of like the issues we're talking about, like it's definitely not objective. It's not something where you can, okay, well, if he has this, that means he's woke. That means he believes this.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You're not gonna get that at any of us. You know what I'm saying? So I think even with that, understanding that we're not going to be a one-party voted mindset. We're not going to be a one perspective. We're not going to be Calvinistic in our thought process, Southern Baptist in our thought process. It's like, yo, we are believers. We Black. You know what I'm saying? We all have various interests, and I can see how even within that, I would even say like that also is how you date as well. It's like, man, like I don't date one type of person. I've seen him date a lot of different type of people. Like, it's just,
I'm sure he seems very open-minded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crayola box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how did you come to that? Because, like, I find, Crayola like, box. when it like you said Crayola box, so I'm laughing because there's a lot of colors in the Crayola box. They're adding new ones as we speak. Purple is like the 5 different.
Where's the buttons?
Five different right now. So how did you come to this like, because even when I dress, I find like, dang, let me stop buying all these blazers. I'm only wearing blazers. Because you have even the type of food that we like, dang, how did you find yourself when it comes to dating, like showing that type of range of, I like all of them, you know?
So all I'm around is Black folk growing up. You know what I'm saying? But I go to preschool and I meet this Mexican girl that I just had a crush on.
Okay.
I get to
now,
kindergarten.
was the preschool predominantly Hispanic?
No.
It was predominantly Black? Mm-hmm. Was that your first time being experienced to Hispanic?
No, there were no. Like, not where I was, at least. There were several of them in there. There was just this one specific one that I was just like, I don't know why I have some type of affection for this girl, but I got a little crush on her. You know what I'm saying? And so we moved, never saw again.
Right.
And then went to had a crush on this black girl. I think it was also this was in elementary, and it was just like, oh man, she's a beautiful girl. I just have a crush on her.
Okay.
And then also in kindergarten, this little white girl named Brittany.
Okay.
Had a crush on her. And so it just kind of went from there. Middle school, I had a crush on a white girl and a black girl, mixed girls in high school, and it just kept
that's
switching
when you
out.
realize, like, oh, okay, I like different
I like what I
varieties.
like.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I like what you come with too. And you know what I'm saying? Because like not everybody's the same at all. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah.
Do you guys think that black men should be bothered when they hear the outcry of their sisters? How many sisters do you have,
I
Caleb?
have 2 older sisters.
How many sisters do you have, Elijah?
I don't have any.
All right, but you got a cousin or two. I think.
Yeah.
All right. And Street.
Yeah, no sisters.
But you got a mama. You got a sis. You got plenty of sisters in Christ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
Yes, and I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that black men should be bothered by how society is treating them as a whole and saying no one's checking for me, no one's looking for me?
Yeah, I think the outcry question. Yes, I think when we see pain, there should be the response to the pain, in whatever is contextual for it. Now, if the response is always immediate action, I would be a little bit nuanced in that. For me, when I see the women who I know have done the work, the women I know who are beautiful, the women I know who are actively out there trying to date, and either they're getting dead dirty or either they're not getting picked because of whatever it may be. Yeah, and you hear them and they're either feeling lonely, communicating they're lonely, crying. It's just like, yeah, I feel for that, and I also understand that there's a lot that comes with that as well, because at the end of the day, I think one of the big things is you want to be wanted by who you want.
Okay.
And that could be a umbrella, which is I want to be wanted by black men, or it could be I want to be wanted by specific black men. And it could be the specific, specificities.
We know what you're trying to say.
Specificities. It could be the specifics that actually could be muddying the water, because I do think there are a lot of qualified black men out here.
And you feel they're not being the ones being chose because they don't want that one, they want this one.
That's one in a lot of different,
that's one way to say it.
I do feel like that's the case.
Okay.
But the majority of black marriages are between black men and black women. It's just, within our community, there is a pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I see a pandemic. I see marriages aren't happening. And if marriages aren't happening and it's a high surge of one community, I'm like, how can we then talk about being image bearers of Christ, seeking to multiply the kingdom, and then we're not doing the one thing that starts that, which is to multiply.
Okay.
Whether that be through discipleship or whether that be through child and children and legacy. And so for me, I'm like, there's things we got to get right, and that starts with, first of all, perspective of what is marriage, why are we actually seeking to be married?
Okay.
Because I do think the idolization of what marriage can be or should be is a big issue as well. For sure. But so for me, I think that the question is a good question. I think it's hard to answer black and white. Like, should we respond to the outcry? Yes. But should the response always be action? I wouldn't always say yes. Which is why I wouldn't always hold everybody accountable to, like, hey, every black man has a direct responsibility to marry black women. I think I could say that generally, but anything not done in faith is sin. So if you have a specific call on your life and your specific call doesn't look like the majority, which is almost every biblical figure. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a standard, but I'm going to use the second born. There was a standard, but I'm going to use somebody who don't cut their hair, don't drink wine, and he going to be super strong. But like, literally the whole Bible is there was a standard, but I'm going to call somebody else and do something specific and something unique with you. So I'm not going to put the burden on everybody, but I do think the burden should be discussed because our community is in a pandemic. Like, we need more black marriages. Like, that plain and simple. We need more black marriages.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was really good. I think if we really tackle this question contextually to America, I think we have to understand the implications of Christianity in a Western sense and how it is communicated. So you talked about earlier, I think it was you or maybe one of y'all, talked about seeing interracial marriages and just what that does to the psyche of a young person.
Or music
videos. But let's contextualize just to the church. There is something to say about black people in impoverished neighborhoods who already battle a westernized picture of success. White women, cars, money, clothes. They already battle that. Then we get into the church, and then we start to see a similar picture of success, but it's just given to us differently. Interracial, black man, white wife, mixed kids, right? And let's even just get down to how church is even presented. There is a assimilation that tends to happen with culture in church where it says, hey, for it to be good, it needs to look and sound a certain way.
Okay.
We have to be aware of what this does, because now when we talk about the people who we tend to minister to, kids in the hood, people who are underpoverished, they are being presented a picture of success in the church that looks a certain way.
Yeah.
There is a power when I see somebody who looks like me, talks like me, acts like me, walks like me, eats like me, engages in my culture, and they are living their life completely sold out to Christ. What does that look like? If it looks like black man, white woman, what are these young black boys going to think they need to do if they want to be
that's very
good
true.
Christians, right? What does that communicate to young black girls?
Yeah.
He can't take me on this walk with the Lord if he wants to build his family and do all these different things. So I think how we present it isn't just what people see, it's also what it communicates to people. And so I think we have to be mindful of that. Now, to kind of what Street was talking about, the outcry, I think we acknowledge, but the action may look a little differently, right? I can advocate for somebody and I don't have to marry them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can be an ally to you, and it doesn't have to look like a march, a social media campaign. It can be as simple as what we talked about earlier. Hey, if your preference is for white women, that's tough. If your preference is for white women, don't devalue the black woman. Don't say I like white women because black women do too much and this, that, and the third. Say I love white women because for whatever reason, right?
You leave it at that.
So are you saying a black man that marries a white woman is now defined as an ally?
No. You're conflating 2 points. So the first point was, what does it communicate?
For sure.
When that's the only thing you see.
Okay.
This next point is completely separate.
Okay.
So I'm saying you have to be mindful about what we communicate in context to should black men or what should be their response. It doesn't always have to be go marry a black woman, but it does have to be mindful of what you communicate, even if it's just how you present, right? And I think, again, back to advocacy, it could just be as simple as, hey, I can be your friend. I can be a true brother in Christ to you. And it doesn't have to be anything connected to if I want to date you, if I'm attracted to you. It's just simply, hey, you're my sister in Christ. I'm your brother in Christ. And I'm going to be here for you in friendship and whatever that looks like.
Okay, let's switch it a little bit. Did you have something to add to that, Street?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go ahead.
It's kind of, I want to see there's an update since last time we talked. and I think you missed that conversation we had specifically, but can you be pro-black?
Oh no, I was here for that.
He was here for that.
Oh, you were
I
there.
was here for
Can
that.
you be pro-black and date a white and marry a white woman?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said yes too.
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay.
Disagree?
I don't know about that.
So
You disagree?
So
on the same time.
Oh, okay.
It to me-
you disagree? You don't think you be pro-black and date a white woman?
So what do you
So,
mean by
like
pro-black? What is it in the pro-black space? What are we talking about?
Oh dang, I'm about the radical one.
For
this time.
black.
That's interesting.
For black. So I
feel like-
think being for black means you go.
You
to
for black.
You go to black.
If you pro-black, that means you pro-black. Like
In every
you-
single aspect.
So I do.
So
think,
y'all ain't
so-
going to Walmart or Target.
Well, for sure. Like mind you,
just-
a lot of our greatest advocates
interesting, bro.
currently right now, obviously, are either mixed, light skinned, whatever it may be. So
I ain't pro-black.
I'm not what was it?
If that's the case.
Nah, like you think you light skinned?
No. I said I'm
He
not
said he's not
pro-black.
pro-black.
If this is the case, then I guess
Oh.
based off y'all
Well,
definition.
no. So we don't have a definition. It's just like
true.
for black. What I'm trying to say is like where I kind of see it. Obviously, I'm not saying like on all aspects, but to be benefiting our community, it would take marrying somebody in our community because that's what our community needs.
Yeah.
And I do think
Because it's
that-
almost like a watered down community that you're giving. Because what I think about is, I think about if you have a son or a daughter, how would your legacy continue if your daughter, your mixed daughter now, starts to date somebody outside of her race that doesn't look like her dad? It's just going to continue to get watered down. What's your last name?
Barry.
Barrett? The barriers of being black would no longer continue. So how are you really being fruitful and multiplying your culture if it's not with your culture?
So I guess it goes back to what we were saying earlier. When it concerns that, I don't think I'm for the. I guess I'm not for the culture
He's
then.
individual. Like So
Like,
if
I'm-
that's
hold
what
on,
I'm
hold
trying
on,
to
hold on,
say.
hold on,
Black
hold on.
community means within the community.
Yeah.
If it's like, hey, I am for black issues and I support what the black community is doing, but I have an individualistic mindset, then yes. But okay, so and this is what I'm trying to say. Like when it came to, now mind you, this was a common goal, which is why I get why there's discrepancies, because there isn't a common goal right now. Like
For what?
the black
The
community.
black community.
And that's what I'm trying to say. There's not a common goal. There's so much, like
Really?
at the time of civil rights.
No.
It was
Especially based off of actions.
It was.
How do you
hey,
define
Not
that?
only do we all like, I'm not riding the bus. Nobody's riding the bus. And if you see somebody riding the bus, call them out. That was like, yo, we are holding
Right.
everyone accountable. We don't got that now. And the issue is because we've had individuals who've had some type of success, and we're now painting the black community within those individuals
and
who
that's
don't
how it's
make up the
supposed to look like.
majority.
Yeah.
The individuals who have success make up the minority, not the majority. Like on a median, we're still at 40,000 and lower on an income level annually. And I'm like, yo, that's struggling. And that's the majority of our people. But we think middle class, and we see a couple people who are associates to us, and then define that as the black community. It's like, no, our community is struggling. And for us to help our community, there has to be a common goal. And for that common goal to be met, there has to be help within the actual community and directed to that. So
Yeah.
I think that when we talk about being for black, pro-black, it benefits the community to marry black, because that also,
And that's the
even
thing,
by a
when it
financial
concerns,
standpoint, marriage
but
it
was-
yeah,
sounds like pro-black
Black dollar.
is equated to marriage. Because I'm
No,
saying,
not simply.
well, mainly because if I'm doing all these other things, such as mentoring our young black boys and
Sure.
specifically going to these
Absolutely.
young black boys, I'm over here, whether it be mentoring, whether it be giving my dollars to these black-owned businesses who are also like their money is going to other black businesses.
Right.
That seems void now.
Not at
because I married.
Well,
I'm
I
no
think
longer
what
pro-black.
Street is trying to say is maybe there need to be another definition. We don't know what it is. We're not
Probably.
saying you're not for the people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
That's
you
what it
still-
sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds
That's what
like
it sound
that
like.
because I think we're still looking at marriage as such a big part
It's
of the
huge.
community.
Sure.
It's a
So
huge.
we can't
It's huge.
neglect
Sustaining
that
of the
and not
community.
act
And
like
we
it
don't want
doesn't
to.
mean something.
Yeah.
So who you marry does really say a lot about how you feel about the community. Because like Street said in the beginning when he explained him with looking at red bone and light skin, and he's saying, well, that's what I was attracted to. But then he had to evaluate. I'll even talk about myself when it came to natural hair. I did not think my natural hair was good enough. But then after the Lord started ministering to me about this is what you need to do to take care of your hair, I realized the responsibility that I had. Now, I couldn't just change overnight. I felt ugly the first day I didn't have my weave on. But after a while, when I started to reshift, I had to ask God, like, how you want me to do this? You can't tell me nothing about my natural hair. I'm going to say, if anybody got some natural hair going, girl, you cute. Yeah. Look at you. I see you, boo.
Yeah.
So it's not that we are trying to say you not for the community, but it's like, well, it's just that little part right there because that's a big part.
Because a lot of times it's not just y'all, because y'all, I would even say, in my experience, is a minority. Majority of people out here have the conversation. It's almost like the reason I won't date black women is because negative. It's like, it's not just, hey, I'm open to all things. It's, I gotta avoid this if I'm thinking the betterment of myself and my family and how I progress. I can't progress if I'm with.
And that's an issue. That's a problem.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
That's a problem for sure.
That mindset being popular amongst men and specifically black men, that's damaging our community. That's not going to be helpful.
Agree.
And that's not going to be pro-black. And so as I see the detriment, I'm like, there has to be a helping to help out, level it out, and that takes big for the community and bearing the community. So now I'm not saying now obviously y'all know me. I'm not saying like you're not for the community. I'm just saying like I think marriage is downplayed within that conversation, and it's important in the conversation of being pro-black. But I also think that obviously you can be pro. A lot of our advocates, like I said, are either light skinned, mixed, even white. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not saying they're not pro-black, but I'm saying the best way.
The best.
No, yeah. So if the question is it beneficial, I would say yes. Yeah. But the original question was, can you be pro-black?
For sure.
My answer to that would be yes. If it's what is most beneficial, I'm 100%
say that. I like the way you said.
You know what I'm saying?
Would you say the same thing?
Yeah.
So,
that's a very great way to.
Yeah. So because pro-black, I think because blackness has even evolved since the civil rights movement, right?
It's not
a I'm just saying how we engage with that, right? Yeah. Because you have now black people who are gay, black people who are trans. You have even more than back then, you have mixed people, right? Yeah. And so I think even how we engage with blackness is very, very important. And that's why I wanted to draw the distinction, because I don't want it to be limiting, because I have friends who are mixed and they just as down as I am. I would never say you're not pro-black, or you know what I'm saying, you can't engage with me on that level because you're mixed. Now, what I will say though is, kind of leading back into what you were saying, again, if we look at the stability of white people, it's found in the consistency in generations, right? A lot of white people don't experience nuclear family inconsistency, right? Which then produces what? Wealth through home ownership, inheritance, all those different things. And so like when we look at it from that standpoint, again, if we're just looking at it from a black standpoint, from a black perspective, marrying someone who is black, and this is how I personally feel, I want that not just for what it communicates, but what it can sustain. Because what I don't want is for, and here's what's interesting. A lot of times you hear black people talk about, you know, my blackness isn't over my Christianity. White folk don't have those kind of conversations.
Bring it up.
Why? Because they are in a space that allows them to engage fully with their faith and their cultural identity without sacrificing one of the two. Yeah. What we have to really realize is when I marry black and I give not just a black household, right, but a black household that is stable, a black household that is thriving, a black household that is active in their local community, and a black household that is rooted in the foundations of the Lord, what that communicates is God did not just design me to worship him. He actually designed my black behind to live, breathe, work, and live for him. Now what I do is I remove this hierarchy within myself, and I'm allowed to engage fully in my identity. That's why the attacks on DEI and all these different things, we really should be a little bit more concerned, because what they're trying to, what I at least believe they're trying to do is they're trying to create a culture of assimilation. Mm-hmm. They're trying to say you need to look like this, act like this, talk like this, think like this, worship like this, for it to be okay, for it to be acceptable.
Yeah, and it's a stripping of, it's like, hey, why claim black culture when culture is kingdom? Your culture should be kingdom. Your culture should be Christianity. Your culture should be the church. And I'm like, for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
God created me this way.
How do we have multiple tongues and multiple peoples worshiping God if it's just
That's good.
You can't have unity in diversity without the diversity.
Yeah.
And the diversity was talking about the language and the appearance. And so how is it that we're stripping that away now?
Because it's tough for me to say I engage with God this way and see you engage with God in another way and think that you're still serving and worshiping the same God.
Yeah.
What it does is it takes away your experience and it says, act like me, walk like me, think like me. That's not loving. That's not how the Lord created you to be, right? The diversity is actually a direct reflection of God. Because if you love God and you look like this or talk like this, and I love God and I look and talk a completely different way, well, then that should point back to the omnipotence, the greatness of God, that he can create different people from two separate parts of the world, from two different cultures, and we can all still say, yep, I may like neck bones, collard greens, and grits, and you may like raisins in your potato salad. But look, the Lord is still amazing. Right. Jesus is still king, and God is still the creator of all.
Indeed. Okay, Caleb. So, do you think there's an importance when talking about the diversity of the church to reflect a diversity in marriages and relationships, or is that more individualistic as well?
Say that one more time.
Do you think there is an importance when it comes to, as we talk about church being unified through diversity, can that, and does it have to reflect also in marriages?
I think it depends. I think it depends on what you start with. Are we starting with the culture or the kingdom? Again, I'm for the culture. Yeah, I love my culture. You know what I'm saying? First, Kingdom is first, and then I think that actually that leaks inside of whatever ethnicity you in. Do I think it has to cross over?
Well, I guess because here's the thing. I see the importance as a Christian when Paul is approached by Cornelius and he's like, nah, I keep it kosher. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that over here. We're talking about some pork and stuff like that. Yeah. This is a vision we're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, I'm trying to show y'all a new thing. The people who are going to be my people are not just going to look like the branches that you're used to. This is going to be a people outside of ours. So I'm like, do you think it's beneficial from a kingdom perspective for people to see interracial marriages, especially from the black community on the outside, because I definitely see this. Yeah, or is how it's being seen.
That's my bad.
The perspective. It's the perspective of, do you think when people see you with someone of another ethnicity, how that comes across? What does that read? Because
so maybe I got to work on this, because there's a side of me that just completely cares and I'm passionate about certain things. There's other stuff that I just don't care about.
Okay.
I don't care.
You don't care
what your perspective is of me and my marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have no concern for that. The thing is, it's like, I'm with this woman. I'm called to lead, honor her. She has her calling with this. We're called to be a symbol of what Christ and the church looks like. Whoever that is, whether she's black, white, Hispanic, whatever, that's what's going to happen.
That's going to be you.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I hope you see the Christ in this, because one of the things I think you stated earlier was just like, and people may be like, oh, you just over spiritual, whatever the case may be. It's like, what if that last name leaves? If you forget my name, please remember my Jesus. I'm not really worried about.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I love legacy. I want to be able to leave my kids with something, and their kids be something. But eventually, who was Caleb?
Right.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's really about how are we honoring Jesus in what we do?
Yeah.
And if there's a burden on me that says, you know what, I want to make sure that these people that's around me see a black family, that's a burden I'm going to carry, and I'm going to deny everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't got that
We're
burden.
going to switch it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm sure some women are just really thinking about, why are black men not approaching me? We hear a lot of times black women have attitudes. I know I'm not attitude person, but I'm very guilty of if I feel like I gotta say something with attitude, I'm a Roman neck with it. It's a part of me.
Yeah.
And my husband don't mind. He'll probably roll it back being funny. I'm gonna snap my finger.
Wait, what does he do it again?
No, he'll mock me, but he no, but do you guys feel that, let's just make it plain, do you feel black women are approachable?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I was about to say, one of the issues that I'm seeing specifically with black dudes is like, you're going to see this YouTube video of this dude and his experience with this black woman.
Oh my
and then you
gosh.
see this other video, and then you see this other video, and now that's your experience. And I'm like,
Wow.
fam, you never,
Wow.
if you ask some of these guys and these ladies, it's just general. Actually, you know what? So we just talk about the guys. If you ask some of these guys, do the women around you reflect that thought process? They're going to say no. The black women around them don't act like that. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time. There are some that do. You know what I'm saying? But for those specific ones that I'm talking about, it's like, that's not even your experience, my guy. But yet you're saying all these black women got all these attitudes. Then they do see these YouTube videos of some of these black women with some horrible attitudes and think, oh, this is what solidifies my thought process.
Okay.
But it's not a personal experience. And so for some of them, they have to come to the reality of, not all black women are like this. First and foremost, I got black women around me that are complete opposite of what I've been seeing this whole time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my guy, you're delusional right now. Like, we use that term all the time in some other space. Like, no, like, you're really not seeing what you think you're seeing right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why they're not getting approached.
Yeah. They're just buying into somebody else's narrative. It
Yeah.
never happened to them. And Elijah, would you feel the
Yeah,
same?
I mean, he hit the nail on the head. I think I want to preface this. I am in a very, very healthy, happy relationship. Shout out to
No, we ain't
Faith.
talking about you. We're talking about somebody else. We're not talking about you.
I have never had that problem when I was single. Like, I never had a problem, and that's not like oh yeah, every time I shot it went in. No, it was just like, if you see something you like, go after it.
Okay.
But I think, to what he said, we got a lot of people playing on statistics and trying to date. And the problem with that is, you're not going to marry the generalized statistic, whatever that looks like, right? Your experience, your dating experience, your marriage is going to be unique. Nobody's going to have the same story. So I think it's a lot of fear that are paralyzing men specifically when they hear the stats, right? When they hear or they see these YouTube videos, these podcasts, have them bought into a lie. Right. And it's a lot of different lies, but the main one being is that you can mitigate risk in dating. You can do certain things that may lower your chances. But I have friends who are successful. I have friends who make a lot of money. I have friends who look really good, and they're single. I have friends who, if you wanted to go by statistics, you would think they're single, happily married. So I think what the problem, I think, is when you talk about why don't black men approach black women, is because I think a lot of black men, we are engaging honestly with the women around us.
Okay.
We only see women as a means to an end: marriage, sex, companionship. If you engage with people uniquely and individually, you see a lot more value in somebody.
Yeah.
Because now I engage with who the Lord called you to be. And sometimes that means, me and you are on a track where we're like, hey, I like you, you like me, we're getting married. Sometimes that means you just bring a value to my life as a sister in Christ. But I think a lot of us are just stuck here. How do I get married? How do I find a girlfriend? How do I have a healthy relationship? How do I get, have, all these different things pertaining to marriage and relationship? And it's like, how do you engage honestly and authentically with the people around you?
Okay.
I think that is a big barrier for people.
All right, Stree, bring it home. Do black women have attitudes? Are we approachable?
Some of y'all do.
Good Lord.
That is a different question. That is a different question.
Some of y'all do.
I like the attitude. Just a little bit of it.
Yeah, a
though.
little sassiness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like spicy food.
Are we approachable? That's what I'm really asking.
I think because they talk from the one standpoint, I think I'll take the other end of the spectrum, which is from men to women. Working with men and just discipling men, especially in his last year plus, these, especially black men, most black men want to get married. Now, whether or not people should be dating in the places where they're figuring things out and really not seeking to be committed is definitely a conversation. But speaking towards the men who are actually wanting marriage, desiring marriage, and seeking out a partner and what that means in a healthy way, a lot of these men, I think first of all, black women have to get this mindset that all men are just gonna be out there doing I'm about to go shoot my shot. How come you're not talking to me? We're in the same room.
Okay.
Most of the men that you're gonna deal with are not aggressive in nature. Now, that goes against all of the tropes of how to date,
Right.
how to go about it, all the dating tips you'll find. Sure, but the reality is a lot of these men feel rejected already, and they don't want to add to that little bit more rejection.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're telling me off rip, your preferences mean so much to you, and me as a substitute teacher or a teacher or a working as an electrician or whatever it may be, and I'm only making $40,000 to $50,000, and you're telling me that I need this for me to be qualified to even be somebody that can date you, I already know that I'm already against the curve. And so I'm gonna have to fight up the hill to even get an interest in you. That's gonna stray the average man away from even approaching a woman.
Okay.
So if it doesn't have to be is the woman approachable, it's does the man feel like he has the ability to approach?
Oh, that's
because
good.
the standing he's in is not enough. So the average black man is not enough based on society standards and even in the church's community standards from black women for the average black woman. And it's like, yo, I'm already not enough for you, so why would I even try? So let me do what I can, and let me bring my value up. Let me go get more money.
Let me do all of this before I
do all
try
this
to-
stuff because I gotta work to get love. And that's the
Woo,
issue.
woo.
We feel like we gotta work in order to deserve somebody to want us and to need us and to finally love us, which is the same issue a lot of these men have been having with their mothers in the first place.
You better
So
speak.
when they go and then have relationships with other women, now they're fighting the same battle. It's like,
Wow.
all right, for me to actually get this, I gotta work for it. And that's not right. And
It's
so
not.
in my experience, I think that there has to be a level of the first date shouldn't be where you're expecting to fall in love. Let the first date be a place where you seek to do the second date.
Okay.
Because it's going to be awkward sometimes. It's going to be weird sometimes. There might be some things you got to, like the fireworks and the babies and the cupids shooting arrows. That's what you want. But that's not
culture.
always the case.
That's culture.
You know what I'm saying? And especially when we're in an era where social media is such a big factor in things, where I can literally scroll your whole life before I even approach you.
Wow.
You know, I think it takes away from the power and just getting to know somebody on a human level and as an individual. So I think it's a lot of blockers in just causing men and women, black, white, whatever it may be, of just getting to know each other and doing so, understanding that you're human, I'm human, and yes, we can grow. And it's okay that if I'm a teacher and I say I love teaching, well, what's next? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about investing in the next generation.
Okay.
And that means from my salary, I may in a few years be able to get $70,000, but that's probably gonna be in like 10 to 15 years.
And that's
Like, now I'm not.
And that's what I mean when I say like
Worth it.
engage with somebody like authentically. It's almost like when you're dating nowadays, it's almost kind of like people approach it like they got a shopping list.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need chicken breasts, I need ketchup, I need milk. Well, I know I need milk, but I don't really like this brand. Let me go see about this brand. Well, like, yeah, that's Frosted Flakes, but like great value. And it's almost like, man, you want a man that's passionate, that leads well, that can communicate, but because there's a dollar figure attached to his salary that doesn't necessarily make your eyeballs pop, now he's not good enough. I think the problem with that is you don't even know what you want. You haven't even really considered what a man who has this type of money that you're seeking, what does that man even do? What is the character of that man? And that's not saying people who are rich have poor character or anything like that, but it's really like, I feel like we got people with shopping lists. They have not reevaluated, and it's actually, like you said a blocker. Yeah. It's actually created a barrier in the dating pool because everybody's got a list.
And it's not even just a shopping list that's there. It's also, I'm approaching you as though you are the generalization. And I'm just like, bro, everybody is an individual. I get generalizations, but if I'm talking to a shorty, like, I'm trying to figure out who you are, where you come from, because you look like you're well-to-do and got all this other stuff.
You look good,
know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it could be completely different from the inside. So if I'm going to go on a date, if you're going to approach a woman, it's like, man, look at her as an individual, not what you think you're about to receive. So that's one of the things I would encourage our brothers. I get it. The rejection thing is hard. Yeah. It sucks. You don't know what this woman gonna say to you if you decide you want to, in confidence of who you are, not that what the response is gonna be, but in confidence of who you are, who the Lord has made you to be. You walk with her, you go to her with respect and honor, and you have a conversation with her, bro. You might figure out real quickly that she is not what you thought she was, based off of what you saw on YouTube and what you've experienced in your past. So it's like, you gotta approach these situations or these women as individuals.
So hearing all of that, about the challenges and the difficulties when it comes to approaching a woman, do you guys support the idea of a passport bro to say, I don't have to deal with any of this in America where a woman's going to talk back to me or not be submissive to me or give me a difficult time when it comes to getting to know them or dating them. I can just spend this money and get this woman from overseas that is going to do my every wish and command because they are ready. Do you support that idea?
So I will say, from my understanding, a lot of the passport bros are doing so for the sake of pleasure, you know, and I'm totally against that. Just going to another place just to sow your oats in a foreign land is ridiculous. If you're saying that you've been rejected, you've experienced this, and I'm giving up, it's like, yo, I'm going to go where I'm appreciated. I think that's a natural human response. You know what I'm saying? When you experience rejection,
well, maybe if it's not just about sexual pleasure, but just about
I'm saying marriage. What I'm saying is, like, I think it's a natural human response that if you've been rejected so many times,
get what you can.
I know some men who, like I said, there's men who I have a great pool of that are solid men of God. You know what I'm saying? And there's women who like, hey, do you got any homeboys? I'll send them to homeboys without even having a conversation. Without even knowing them, it's just like, who else?
Wow. And why are
nobody. That's it.
And why do they say who else? Is it the look streak?
That's all they can go.
That's all they got.
You got that, and then you can scroll down. And so I'm like,
oh wow.
What? Like, imagine being a dude.
Yeah.
You've done the work. You've been discipled.
You're giving them based off of what you know about their character.
Personally, character.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this dude got this going. He's got this going.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What else? What else you got?
Oh.
Let's see. And so if that man is now saying, or for example, if that woman, if a black woman saying, hey, I've been rejected by my own people so long, and I'm getting shown attention.
Yeah.
Somebody's actually saying that they value me after being devalued. I think it's a natural response to go where you're wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you go to the predominantly white school, there's gonna be a black table. Simple as that.
Right. I've been
when
there.
We was in chapel, we all sat together. It's like,
right.
I tried to sit in. I remember the first time in my college, I sat down in the front row. Every row around me filled up. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'll never sit out here again. I went and sat back in the back with the people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, at least I'm wanted. You know? And so I think it's a natural response to go where you're wanted.
Yeah.
Because we don't like rejection. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's natural. It's something we got to get used to. It's something that is, I think, the harder thing to do is stick around and wait.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I personally feel the burden of being like, nah, I have to marry a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like for me and what God is calling me to do, and even along with my preferences and my desires, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be something that I can't wait to create a beautiful Black family. You know what I'm saying? So even if that means doing the hard work of understanding that we have a similar experience and that experience is different from a lot of other experiences, but it's gonna look a little different, I'm okay with doing that. But I really can't judge if another person is like, I'm out. Because I get it. I know what it's like to be hurt and rejected. So I'm like, when I'm seeing that, I feel you, bro. Like, I can't even judge you. If it's just about you not soiling your oats, and it's like, I want to get married where people actually want me, I feel it.
Okay. Wow. Can y'all add to that? Like, you have something to say?
Oh, Trey got you.
I do question that. Trey, you guys are
Go ahead.
Well, my look, the only thing I question is just
Because I
like,
know your face, right?
with the
was a good
passport
point,
bros,
Scott. It was a good point.
I've just questions like, bro, like, so every woman you've approached, every one of them gave negative, like, you got negative reviews for them.
It's some
They
generalization.
every single last one of them did that to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, nah, like, you the problem somewhere up in there. You know?
Okay.
And so I don't think it's just one of those things of I'm just all these women out here are this and now I got to go this way. It's like, nah, like you've experienced some real hurt, you know what I'm saying? Some pains. And now it's I want to go somewhere where I feel like I'm not going to experience that whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like even when you go over there, I've heard the stories. it's not as special as you think it's gonna be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of what we always talk about.
Yeah.
That mindset of like, let me go where someone can serve me.
That was
And that's the real issue. It's like, from what I'm seeing, it's about, well, I need somebody to accommodate my life. So
And I wanna
these women are more likely to serve.
And I want to shape and mold them to how I want them to be. When I hear cats say that, I'm just like, fam, like that is not our job to shape and mold them to what we want them to be. I feel like that is on some like she's just like some servant that I can just tell what to do, when to do, how to do it.
Submit.
Get in the bed, about to have sex. I pay the bills. I do all this other stuff. It's like, yo, that is not the route that we should be taking whatsoever. Especially as Christians, because again, it's just like, man, like we're called to shape and mold her to who Christ has called her to be. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Rarely we hear a passport bro talk about how they're going to serve
Her.
the other.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Never.
Because it has nothing to do
how
with
are you
that.
serving
Never.
this?
It has
person
everything to
from
do with their
Taiwan?
ego.
Yeah.
How are you serving this person from where are they going?
South America.
South America.
Yeah.
South America?
They go there.
Yeah, they over there too.
Yeah. Man, so when I was in 10th grade, I started like playing like basketball for real. So I went to a couple tryouts and I didn't make it. And there was like a team where I'm like, I know if I go over here,
They gonna want you.
I'm gonna make it. I know. And so I go to the team, I play, and I was like, man,
They still rejected you?
no. I made the team. I made the team.
Okay.
But it was probably the toughest, like practice was tougher than any game I had ever played up to that point. Now it's because they weren't interested in what I could bring. They were trying to say, hey, look, you play good defense. We need somebody that's going to play defense. They wanted me for what they needed.
Oh.
And I think that's the problem I have with passport bros, right? Is there is no healing. There is no self-accountability. What they do is they go find somebody to fit what they need from that person. And it's a complete stripping of who they are individually.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the scariest thing. And it actually is very reflective of how men in America view marriage.
Wow.
A lot of passport bros talk about westernized women and how they're terrible. But a lot of passport bros don't hear how they view relationships, women, and marriage. If I tell you that I'm going to go to another country to find a job because it's too hard in America, the job market's terrible, all these different things, you're going to say, well, hey, Trey, you're not working hard enough. But also what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, Trey, have you tried job boards? Have you tried getting the certification? Have you tried expanding your skill set? That's the other problem. They want somebody to take them as they are, but they want the ability to then say, you should be this, and this. And if you don't fit it, I'm going to go find somebody who's willing to do that.
Yeah.
They don't want marriage. They want subjugation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
They don't want to be a husband. They want to be an overlord.
Okay.
Right? That's what Jesus said. I think it's in Matthew. You don't lord over them like the heathens do. They want to lord over their wife. They're not seeking real and true union. And so that's why that's my biggest issue with it is these are men who truly lack accountability, who truly just want to do whatever they want, and who truly don't value women. They value being able to be in a position of power. And that's what they want to do. They want to exercise it over people. And when you stop fitting their narrative, when you stop looking the way they want you to look, they'll divorce you.
You know what's funny about it too? This ain't even part of the conversation, but one of the things I have noticed about some of these cats, they consider themselves alpha.
Oh.
And yet,
The least alpha nigga. Oh, sorry. Can I say that? Can I say that word?
No, you're not on this one.
Okay.
Maybe yours.
I'm not gonna say it. We didn't go over podcast
On this
etiquette.
one.
nah,
The least
you should've
alpha-
known that.
Yeah.
But I just thought that way. I was just like, yo, like these cats really be thinking they're alpha, and it's like, well, why can't you get anybody over here if you alpha?
That's the
But
interesting
yeah, you have
part.
to go over here to make life easier for yourself. I didn't
That's
think y'all
true.
liked it easy. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm gonna throw another one in there.
I didn't think y'all liked it easy.
Because I'm thinking about my
crazy
friends
word.
that I'm in my late 30s, and I'm thinking about my friends that are single. And y'all know me. Well, you get to know me, Caleb.
Yes, ma'am.
And you could sense by now that I feel like I'm down to earth. My friends are very down to earth. And they're educated, and they're making money. And a lot of them say the reason I don't get approached is because men are intimidated by me. How true is this statement that men are intimidated by black men? Because we're talking about blacks here. That black men are intimidated by black women that are educated, that make more money than them. And they're saying, it don't matter. I'm not trying to go on an expensive date with you. We could go to a coffee shop. But once you realize all that I have my own house, I got my own car, I really don't need you for much other than this companionship and this relationship that I would like us to continue. But that's why he didn't continue, because he was intimidated by me. How true is that statement?
Go ahead.
Well, so from my experience in just hearing different conversations with some of the men, it's like you'll see that they place their value in their work and in what they do. And if what you do, which again I consider value, is higher than mine,
Come on.
I can't be a part of that because mine has to be over yours so I can feel some type of leader, so I can feel like I can get some type of respect, so I can feel like I can get some type of honor. You know what I'm saying? And so because they place their value inside of what they do, you intimidate me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and I think, again, that's just an issue in and of itself. I think we do have to get to a place of understanding. It's like, hey, like, it's not about what we do, you know what I'm saying, and how much we make. Is how much we make and what we do important? Yeah, praise be to God. Like, he's called us to steward these particular things, but these aren't what calls you to be a man. This isn't what, these things doesn't mean that you're a bad leader or a good leader or whatever the case may be, but it is something that we need to put back in its place and not in where full value is. So
And I just because I don't know if you're gonna go the same way. Yeah, I'm gonna tag on too. I think there also needs to be a kind of fresh wind with how we frame what a husband is.
Yeah, agree.
I think a lot of men are intimidated because they are told you got to make this much, you got to provide, you got to protect. And so now if I don't make enough money, I'm not a provider. Or if you make more than me, I am now insecure about my role in our relationship, right? If I'm not super tall and I'm not really in shape and fit, how can I be a protector?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we have to reframe and reshape how we present what a husband is. If a lot of people understood leadership, they would have a better frame of what a husband should be doing.
Yeah.
Husbands should be more aligned with stewardship than they should be provider, right? I think we see a lot of men try to go out and they kill themselves. I have a lot of friends who are, let me not say a lot, I have several friends who are married and they kill themselves trying to make sure they're bringing as much money as possible, talking about 2-3 jobs. And it's like, I'm sitting on the phone, it's like, bro, like, they don't appreciate me. They don't see all the work I'm doing. And I'm like, bro, you don't appreciate you. You have now put all of this weight on yourself
That's good.
to bring in all of these things when the Lord just wants you to be present.
Wow.
I think Exactly. I think a good leader understands how to put people in the best positions for the goal that they're trying to accomplish, right? So as a husband, my prayer is, Lord, who have you called Faith to be? Where have you called her to be? And give me the grace, give me the wisdom to help her be in those spaces, to pour into her so she can be all that you've created her to be. I am stewarding over my family. I'm not trying to bring anything about by my hand. But so many men, they become intimidated because they have completely abandoned their role as son. If I never lose sight that I'm a son of God always and forever, then now I operate differently. I'm not trying to establish myself. I'm saying, hey, come on into my daddy house. This is all we got. We're going to try to figure it out. We're going to grow it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to produce anything. And I think a lot of men spend so much of their life producing. I pay all the bills. I put gas in the car. I do all these things. And it's like,
Tired.
You are working yourself to death. And the more you do that, the more you abdicate your true role.
Wow.
And I think if more men understood that it is more important for me to remain a son and then steward what my father gives me, I think we'll see a lot less intimidated men.
Yeah.
And we'll see a lot more men saying, baby, you making $100,000 and you on the VP track at your job. How can I help you get there? Baby, you got this business idea that you've been writing and you've been going over for years and years. How can I pour into that? I have a coworker here. When she was dating her now husband, he bought her the LLC for the business that she now has when they were dating. That's what a husband does. He sees where you're supposed to be before you even know where you need to be going.
Ooh.
And he pours into you so that you can get there. That's, again, leadership. That's what good leaders do. I know where the end goal is. So now I know how to get you to where the Lord has shown me you need to be.
That's good.
That's what I think more men need to be walking in. So it's not about who makes more. It's not about who has a better job, who drives the best car. It's about, you may have it, but I have the ability to grow it.
Ooh. And I think that's what society, through the years, that's what we were looking at, because it was the woman that stayed home, and and so society is giving us. I'm sure if we was talk to a lot of our grandpas, be a man,
right? What does that mean?
So society has really gave us that narrative, and society has changed so much since my grandfather days.
Yeah. I think in today's culture we have the luxury of preference and love.
The luxury.
Yeah.
You could scroll and see what you like.
Yeah, well,
or at least the illusion of it.
It's just like love and preference. Like this is probably the only century of human history where that can be a consistent thing that people can seek and have legitimacy in seeking that. Before it was just convenience and necessity.
Yeah,
it's or tradition. It's like, hey, my family has aligned your family, and y'all will get together. You know what I'm saying? Now that's not the case, and we have the luxury of preferences. We have the luxury of falling in love. It's like before I even commit to you, I gotta fall in love. Before I even commit, I can gauge all this stuff. So I think it's a very new time frame for humans to be living in the Western world and have these things that are this exposure, but we don't know what to do with them now. Now that we have them, and not to say that it's not a bad thing that we can have them. You can have the Disney princess mindset. It's like, hey, I have everything, but also I can still make a choice. My person over me doesn't have to say something for me. I can make a decision. Yes, that's true. I do think that there should be within dating more community dating. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that's over women. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole mindset of before I could date your daughter, like I met your father. Before I could talk to your sister, you know what I'm saying? I met the pastor. Like there was a covering. It wasn't just I'm pulling you aside from everybody and I'm getting to know you, and they don't gotta meet me. There's no standard. It's like, nah, you gotta check in, fam. But to following up with that, I think that when it comes to like success, the thing I have an issue with is that if you're defining your success simply off of your achievements and financial status, then when you tell me you don't need me for anything but relationship, sex, or companionship, you've minimized my value as a being and an image bearer. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't need a father, even though I got a kid. I don't need that. Well, I don't need what you're designed to be. It's like I'm designed to be a father. If you have a child and I'm about to be living with you, I'm gonna be his father. I'm gonna be a stepfather. Well, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I work hard. I have money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not be as much. Well, I don't need that. I'm good. It's like, okay, so what do you need? Because one thing that a man wants is to be needed.
Ooh, y'all hear that?
And if you're telling me
slow down,
but somebody's gonna take pictures with you and look good with you, then you've diminished my value as an image bearer.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, the identity of I have this degree, I have this money, I have all these things. Honestly, if we had, like, I could line up 10 people and they all could say I'm teachers. And that could all mean 10 different things. One could be a professional. One could be collegiate. One could be like a kindergarten teacher. They all could act different, though. And if you just say teacher, I don't even have to know how much you make. Let me find out about you.
Right.
The issue is that what a lot of men are experiencing is the moment they start talking about their career, it comes with a certain attitude, or it comes with a certain type of, and because of that, I won't settle. And because of that, you're not finna see me go lower than anything else. And because of that, you got to come up to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And it's like, off some finance and success and knowledge, all right, if you up there, enjoy the sky ride.
No, really though. Yeah.
But it's not a diss. I see it from this perspective. Look, I could, if somebody asked me what I do, it's a multifaceted thing, but I'm in a season where I'm truly understanding obedience is desired better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these women have sacrificed a lot to get to where they're going.
Wow.
But it's like, is that where God has called you to be?
Yeah.
Are you being obedient?
Yeah.
Because I want to see the obedience more than the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So for me, I made a lot of money last year. This year, not so much because I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
And it's like, me writing this book is taking up the majority of my time and taking me away from the career things I was doing. And it's hurting me financially, but I see how it's invested, and I see the beauty that God's teaching me in all these things. And if somebody were to see me at this point in time and ask me how I was doing, it'd be like well, you know, I'm actually working on this, and this, and I'm working through these things right now. And it's like, okay, well, let me know when you make it up.
Ooh.
Holla at me then. Spin the block when you actually get the success and meet me where I'm at. Not saying that I'm being obedient right now.
Yeah.
Not saying that I am doing sacrifices, but the things I'm sacrificing is the finance. Because I gotta listen to what God's calling me to do.
Yeah.
And
That's
for
good.
me, I'm like, if I'm missing out on somebody's success because I'm being obedient, I'm content.
Yeah.
I'm content with missing out. Because I also see how somebody that's willing to see somebody operate in their obedience, not to say being financially not being a good steward, and it's just like me understanding that, like, God's got me in an interesting season.
Yeah,
I
man.
know there's a reward. I know,
Sure.
Yeah.
And the people have supported me through this process has been so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've not been shamed. I've not been put down because of it. I've not been told, well, you know, let me know when you start getting. It's like, nah, I understand God's got me in a special place. And
Yeah.
I think that for the women who communicate that, I think if you communicate it in a different way, which showed that your heart doesn't put that over somebody else and makes, because I have this status, you have to meet me where I'm at type of mindset. And it's like, you could have that status and I could meet you there, but if I get there, will Christ be there?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good. It sounds like the ladies in your life are doing the opposite of what he was talking about. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're like that. They're more on my mindset,
sure.
but I do know some like that.
That's good. And so my encouragement to them would be too, because a lot of times they try to adjust themselves now
don't do
Yeah.
to the insecurities of a man.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
Do not do that.
The Lord done got you through that master's, that PhD. Girl, you better put that on your wall. He done got you enough to get you a house and all these other things. You going on vacations. You got all this other stuff. Praise be to God. Like, don't hide that just because this guy is in he's viewing his role wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Thank you
saying?
for that.
And so just that encouragement to them, because
don't
girl,
actually play
do your
Savior.
thing. Yeah, we ain't don't do that.
Because
man.
at the
Do your thing,
end of
shout
the
out.
day, if he's intimidated by your success, then he's going to be a jealous leader. And we all have encountered that at work.
And he's not. And he's definitely not going to allow you to grow.
Oh,
There will be no watering whatsoever.
Matter of fact,
Stay
he's
over
going to
here.
tell you.
Y'all better
He's going to
preach.
tell you to
He's not
chill.
gonna Oh yeah,
He's
bro.
gonna tell you to chill.
Oh, yeah.
babe,
more in the house.
you don't need to be doing all that. Why are you always at work? Cook and clean. Like
he's a national passport, bro.
Whoa. Whoa.
He just stayed home with his passport.
the buttons.
Whoa.
That's all he is.
That
and
was
so
good.
we don't want that.
That
Come
was
on,
good.
fam.
That
So
was good.
can I go back to one of the things that you with the
Go.
conversation of the
What was we
the
talking
white
about?
women? So here's my thing.
You know, I'm not even gonna ask my follow question because I feel like you just gonna do something for me right here. What do you?
Let's hear it. Let's hear
Before we
it.
leave
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
let me make sure.
No. So again, look, I ain't even worried about the comments, lady. I
No,
got
go
so much
ahead.
love, y'all.
Make it plain.
Here's what I will say
Make
too
it
again.
plain.
So I've stated before, my preference wise, black women, Latinas. You know what I'm saying? I've literally had women be like, yeah, that's fine, black women.
Yeah.
They said, are you open to white women? I said, yeah, I'm open to them. Their whole demeanor shifts. And I'm just like,
Y'all are devaluing
why?
image bearers.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I get the issues that come with being a black woman in America. I think it's wrong. I think y'all have been devalued in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? But that does not mean in this moment of me saying, yes, I am open to a white woman, that I am for all that devaluing that has happened to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because as soon as I do say I'm open to it, it is a thing of, well, why not us? But I literally just said, I prefer y'all.
Okay.
I prefer y'all and I prefer Latinas. I'm open to these other cats out here. But yeah, so it's just like, don't assume my heart when I say that I'm open to white women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, like y'all have so much value that the Lord has given y'all.
I'm glad you made it plain because somebody been like, all right, that's Caleb who wants a white woman or Hispanic.
Which is crazy because in the
because
beginning,
we
kinda
heard,
wild.
you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
how
yeah.
as humans we pick up the negative, and that's not negative,
Every
but
time.
it's not what we want to hear.
Every
Then
time.
we view it as
Right.
negative.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you made that clear.
And there's literally a Crayola box that's like have all the different dark like shades
Why are you bringing
shades of black, and I love that Crayola box.
You love it.
I love that Crayola box as well.
I'm sure they got some beautiful
Got the
brown.
little
But
rainbow
Oh my
you know what?
gosh.
You know
bro.
what's
Yeah.
so beautiful about that black brown Crayola box? I'm sure it got peaches in there too, because we come in all shades.
See, 'cause you good, bro.
I'm here for it.
All right.
Look.
And that's probably, I mean, I'm not to stay on you. We just going to stay right here just for a minute. But
No,
that's
for
probably
sure.
what they feel when you say you prefer white. It's like, well, why you got to go to white?
Wait, who said they prefer
So,
white?
yes, well, it's,
Okay,
it's,
not
it's just-
prefer.
It's just your
when,
open.
you,
But
when you're
openness,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said it
yeah, I
wrong.
was about to-
when you say you're open
Yeah.
to white, it's like, well, why you even have to? In black, we
Sure.
come in all shades. My sister,
Facts.
lighter than, she's the lightest one in the family.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and she would be the lightest one in even a light skinned family.
Because they feel like you're betraying culture.
Exactly.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
And then I would.
And
it's
I
an
will
enemy mindset.
I will acknowledge
And
your
I'm not with
feelings.
that.
yeah, okay.
But that's
But
it.
I wonder why you just don't say I'm open to everything. Why is it Latino, white? You
No.
know, why you
I'm
don't say
open to everything. But people say, what do you prefer?
What do you
Is
prefer?
black and Latina. You know what I'm saying? And then they ask me the specific question, what about white women?
What
I'm just
about
like,
white? Yeah.
I'm open to it. I never just come out and say, oh yeah, I'm open to white women too. You've
Well, you
never heard-
can't start off with that.
Not
I
at
just wanna
all.
Tell you
I
that.
refuse. I refuse. I would not start off
Okay.
with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But again, it's just like when I get specific.
What's your preference?
Caleb, are you dating? Yeah, sure. I'm open to white women. Yeah, I'm open to white women. But yeah, nah, it's like what was I gonna
little
say?
pumpkin spice.
Yeah, I'm never the one to bring up the white people. You know what I'm saying? It's always a question.
Well,
that
when
gets
you
asked.
say Latino, we're gonna go to the next one. Like, well, what about?
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Hey,
how that's
and-
kind of how it goes. Like,
and
if
I'm
you-
gonna give you the next answer.
All
It's
right.
like I'm Gucci.
But
I'm
you
good.
did say some very great points about how if your last name fades, it's not about that. It's about what you do for Christ or last. And I respect that. I admire that. And
Especially for a man that like I feel like I'm gonna have a bunch of daughters, you know, and I'm, you know, that's gonna happen. You
Now,
know
if
what I'm
your
saying?
daughter
That's
cries-
a feeling. That's a
if
feeling.
your daughter
but
cries because none of the black boys like her, how will you respond?
that's a great question. This fool right here.
Say, Daddy, I want someone that looks like you, but they don't like me.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I don't know exactly how I'll respond then, because 33-year-old Caleb is going to be completely different from that guy, but I truly believe there is going to be some empathy for sure. I get to encourage her in her blackness, her beauty, you know what I'm saying, in that as well. And I don't know if I'd necessarily address the guys. I think I'll just address her value, you know.
The only thing is, Caleb, it's going to be hard as a black little girl. I'm speaking from
for sure.
little Kiyanna.
For sure.
It's going to say, well, Daddy, you didn't choose that way.
Yeah.
They say that?
No, I'm talking to his daughter.
I'm trying to say, like,
yeah.
that's having a conversation with their dads like that?
They would think that, like,
For
well,
sure.
how can you tell me that?
Okay, yeah.
How can you tell me that?
But also,
when you
kids
didn't
are very
choose-
blunt.
When you
No,
didn't
they're
choose
pretty
that
blunt.
way.
Yeah.
So
I think that. Hold on. So even with that, sorry, because she was addressing me just now on that one. So even with that too, like one of the things I will bring up is the fact of, yes, I did, but it wasn't out of comparison of somebody else.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the fact that black wasn't beautiful. It's just this one that was in front of me, I chose because for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But it would never be because she was black or has anything to do with her skin tone. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Street, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I was gonna say we do a disservice in the Christian community when it comes to mixed people of affirming only their black identity and saying that this takes priority because it's how the world looks at you, discrediting and making the other side, the other spouse, the other person that contributed to a life invalid.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the white side of you, that doesn't matter. We got to focus on the black side. The Latino side of you, that doesn't matter. You're black to the world. I'm like, yo, this is two different cultures.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's, to do that, especially as believers, we're not acting as Christ.
You think Christians really do that?
I'm about to
Yes.
say, but I've
We
never
don't-
seen
from
that.
us.
We don't say
never
it,
seen
but
that.
we act on it.
Yeah.
For sure. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
Is it really
It's-
Christians
Well,
or
no,
society?
black
No, it's Christians.
Black
Christians.
who are mixed.
Christians,
Black
for sure.
Christians who are mixed. It's
Yes.
like, you're
Hold on,
black.
hold on.
And then it's like the white side of them, they never actually get to explore. I'm talking about the mixed friends I have. It's like they're now at 30 years old, like, man, I'm actually coming to the identity that, yes, I'm white. Even to say.
But what
somebody's
tropes
mixed.
in Christianity has perpetuated that? Or black culture? Are you saying black culture Christianity, or are you saying black Christians?
I'm saying black.
So you're
mixed
saying
Christians.
Most
in
of
the
the people
black
I've been
church-
around has been
I'm-
Christians, and they have done this.
I'm asking because I want to make sure I understand. Are you saying that black Christian culture, when it comes to mixed people,
we ignore their
forces
other
them to
side.
abandon their white side?
Exactly.
I don't know. I
I've
feel
never
like
experienced
we're-
that.
I honestly, I feel like we're more, as black
I've seen
people,
that and
we're
I've
more
heard it.
accepting
Yeah,
of their
definitely, for
both
sure.
sides. I feel
For
like when they
sure.
go to,
No, you call them black. You wouldn't call somebody who's black and white.
What would you call them?
Why would you call them black? Though? But why would you call them black if they're black and
Because
white?
are they not
so
black?
what you,
They're black.
Yes, but why wouldn't you call them white?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
I've never experienced
we
it.
do not call them white. It's
We
like,
don't
it's
call
like,
them
we
white.
don't call them
What
white.
do you call them?
We
nigga?
don't.
You call them.
The only time you call somebody mixed
Black.
is when you're making fun of them. It's like, oh, you being white.
That's your white side.
Rather than honoring that side of the culture.
Is that not culture though? Is that why are we now shrinking this down to black Christian culture? That's culture in general that
Yeah.
does that.
No,
Because they're black
I don't
as a
hold
whole
culture
until they do
accountable.
something quote
I
unquote
hold
white.
church accountable.
Yeah, but I
care
don't-
what the culture do.
but-
I said it's
But
the church.
you're bringing in what the culture does into the church
But
as
what
if
I
it,
find-
What the church
but
does.
it doesn't.
I'm saying
But it
black
doesn't
Christians.
exist out. It exists outside of black Christian culture.
I can't
what you're
hold
talking.
them accountable.
But
I
that's
hold
what I'm.
the church accountable.
But that's what I'm. That's what I'm
I'm saying black
saying.
Christians in the
It's
church.
not. It's not something that
Calling
is
you out.
exclusive.
all I'm
I don't know.
all right,
bro.
Street.
I
So
don't
since you
know,
have
bro.
a very, because I viewed it differently.
Go ahead.
I viewed it differently. I always thought, in my opinion, that when it comes to the black culture, that they're happy that we accept them. Like, because the black people, like, wow, the black people have been accepting of me. It's my white side that don't want me to identify with my black side.
That's
so this is
literally
a
what I've
new,
heard.
I've heard the opposite.
now maybe I don't hang with enough mixed people. I don't know.
Maybe
But,
not.
Yeah.
I
got mixed friends. I
As
ain't
you
never
talk
heard
to
that, bro.
mixed people,
Yeah.
because they grow up typically around like a black culture and they're pushed to be black, they're not allowed to even explore what the white
Well,
side
I think
is.
that has more to do
It's
with
the
their
default.
parenting. Their parents.
No,
Not,
no, no.
I'm not going to put that
It's
on
a
the black
cultural
church.
issue,
nah,
for sure.
yeah,
It's
nah.
a cultural issue. I'm just saying, as Christians, we should not be doing that.
Are you saying
know
we
what I'm
shouldn't do it, or are you saying we shouldn't do it and leaving it at that? Are you saying that we do it and we shouldn't?
He's saying we
Yeah,
shouldn't.
we do it and shouldn't.
No, he's saying we do it and we shouldn't.
We,
do it.
well,
I
this
don't
is how
see
I
that.
look at it.
Yeah, we do it and shouldn't.
We only can upraise them in what we are.
For sure.
I can't talk about their white side because I'm not white. It's like when
Absolutely.
my husband, when he was going to a predominantly Nigerian church, the Nigerians didn't care too much about black history or my black side because they didn't have that struggle. They didn't know about that. They're looking at the Nigerians like, okay, celebrate our culture. So I will take that in consideration with what you just said, if that's some type of narrative that's going around.
I would just, it's like I said, I said it because it is that mindset that once you consider white, you're shameful. And it's like, we have to shame the white side of you. Like, that's not acceptable.
Man.
Only the black side of you is acceptable. And so to even say that there is a white culture that you're a part, it's like, nah, it's the blacks. When they look at you, they see a black woman. It's like, okay, but my mom is white. I got raised in a white household. We was eating casserole. Like, you're white as well. And that's not bad. And I think that when the church makes it to where all you can be is black, and I see Christians doing this,
I just don't know how to pivot.
Even with the statement of like, so I've been made in the image of God and I'm black. Praise be to God. I love being black. You should love that. Good. I'm made in the image of God and I'm also white. I love being white. They will look at you. You can't say that. They will look at you like, what do you mean by that?
I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. I believe you're not going to hear, when we hear white power, what do we think of? KKK.
I was just about to say.
So it's going to be real hard
let's keep
to
it
come in and say, I love being white.
For sure.
How you gonna say that?
Come on, bro. Like,
How you gonna
we're
say
sitting here acting like contextually we're not in America.
No.
Like, we are.
But again,
you gotta look
so
at the
why
history.
can't why can't they say I love that I'm white when the Lord has made them white?
Yeah,
Well, they
but
could say it.
Historical context. That's the problem. We're living from a historical context.
For sure.
So here's the problem with the whole mixed thing, because all these dozens of decades that have passed, white people have shamed the black out of mixed.
come on, bro.
For sure.
We're just
For sure. Agreed.
Which is the church.
Have caused mixed kids to feel more of the shame of their blackness. And
Agreed.
so
He's shaking his head hard on that.
because that's what we see. We're shaking it earlier.
Why are we trying to condemn and oppress people for a context? It's almost like you're oppressing the beaten down people that's in the cave that we've pushed into a cave. That okay, now you talking cave talk. Like, yeah, we had to talk cave talk because you pushed us in the cave. So if we say, all right, so let me speak to the black in you. Let me relate to the black in you. In fact, I'm not necessarily shaming the white of you, but in essence, I have to protect
The black in you.
For
I
sure.
have to support, I have to uplift, I have to see your black, because all of these years, the black has been shamed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we have this underdog, and I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you, if a black person could run haywire with black jokes and white jokes and go crazy, and he could push the limits. But a white man got just so far.
Yeah,
There's
got
so much.
He crosses the
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just so for me, I just think that, like, because obviously I am for my people, but that doesn't mean I'm not called to hold my people accountable. In whatever standard I'm talking about, like when I talk about black community as a unity and as a unit and as a movement, whenever you see a movement of the black people, it's foundationally driven through the principles of the black church.
Okay.
Because it was biblical. And so I'm going to operate historically, absolutely, in America, that is. And so I'm like, I'm going to operate from that stance. Bible, as a community, let's go forward. And even though I definitely see, like, I absolutely, from the other way around, yeah, like the blackness in a child being looked down upon or being spoken out of in the culture, yes, that's not right. If you're a Christian, I'm holding you accountable. But I think that there is a toxicity of how, especially black Christians in the church, invalidate the pain of white people just because they've not been impacted the same way, or the force has not been the same way, doesn't mean they don't have some type of pain. And so addressing and acknowledging the fact that white people do feel, white people do have pain, and white people do have a struggle, even though it may not look like ours or may not be associated.
You on to a whole other topic, my brother.
For sure.
I was about to ask, can we dive into that, or we gotta go?
Yeah. But when I was gonna say something before, it had nothing.
I'm about to say he's oversimplifing it.
Hey, no, what he said.
For sure.
It's oversimplified.
I'm gonna have to fly back out here.
I was gonna say something else to the date before.
You
Okay.
over simplifying
Yeah,
it, bro.
Go ahead.
To promote black business.
Oh my God.
All right.
We already know what he's about to do.
I
Please.
promote black business. I support black business.
Okay.
For the women
Get
that
to
are
it.
struggling with dating,
Oh my God.
there's
Okay.
a simple solution.
We have to hear it. Go ahead.
Hire a black matchmaker. It's gonna cost money. It may be about $5 to $10 grand.
No, that's what you was gonna say.
I need the facial reactions from you. That needs to be a clip. Clip that up. Yes.
I didn't know
That was not.
When you look, put your money where your mouth is. There is a pool of men who are spending money to be in this pool.
Really?
Yes.
Can you shout out some of these people? Because my people don't know.
Oh
Say
yeah.
it.
So in Dallas, it's one called Mosaic Matchmaking.
Okay.
I don't know about other places, but you can look up black matchmakers.
Okay.
It costs money to be a part of the service.
Okay.
But when you spend the money to be a part of that service or some other services,
Say it one more time for the people in the back. It's called Mosaic
Matchmaking.
Matchmaking.
Yeah,
All right.
we had it on our podcast one time as well.
Okay.
And but that's with any matchmaking service. I think we're so worried about dating because we have all the say in it that when you talk about somebody matchmaking for you, it's like them looking at you and doing a diagnosis of you and saying, hey, I see you and I see this person. I think y'all match well. That's beneficial because that's how it was done in historicity.
I like
so
it.
I think that to benefit our community, it could help getting some help.
Yeah.
From an outside source.
Yeah.
And those outside sources do cost.
All right,
but
friend.
You get to skip all the non-intentionality.
Yeah.
You get to skip all of the nonsense, and you get to actually have your preferences.
And it's actually
explored.
men on there because I find with a lot of these matchmaking services,
You gotta
it's mostly
pay
the women.
to get
it's mostly
access
the
to
women.
the men. You gotta pay,
But it's men on there, right?
it's men.
Okay.
But you gotta pay.
Okay.
Like now, mind you.
I heard you.
I
We
think
gotta pay.
Now, this isn't just a thing for like I said, just the women's side. I think that whenever we talk about dating in the Christian world, Black Christian world, in totality, now it's gonna be the opposite of how we grew up in the clubs. You let the women in free, and then the men show up.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got to let the men in free. Just incentivize them, and then tell them, "Hey, it's not gonna be weird for them to even do anything." Because it's like, I don't feel like doing this, man. You sure it's gonna? So I think that services like that are important because you do get to get men who are ready and willing, and like, yo, I'm not about the game.
I don't know if this is a question for you. What's the guarantee?
The guarantee is
if you paying like okay, it's gonna be in a month, it's gonna be in 2 months, it's gonna be in 3 months.
What I'm trying
It's
to say.
still a gamble.
Wait,
I just wanna make it plain.
The guesswork goes out the way, though. Yeah, it's the guesswork goes out the way because you talk about these free dating sites, and it's like you have all this. It's just a lot of stuff.
I get a sense that they're not for it.
Oh, they're not.
Okay.
But
Don't speak for us.
go ahead.
Don't speak
Are you
us.
for it?
Don't speak for
Are
us.
you for it?
We're gonna speak
Because you said it with like a stamp of approval. This is what y'all need to do. How do y'all feel about it?
Well, no, what I'm trying to say is like it's an option that has not been explored enough.
Okay.
Like we talk about
I think women are willing. I think women are.
No,
I think women
they're
are
not.
on these dating sites.
No, they're on dating sites, not
But not
matchmaking sites. What I'm trying to say is like they're willing to go and do the work by themselves, but to have somebody else do the work for you and with you, I haven't seen that be a willing.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about, I have offered to like put up money to help some people out. I ain't never had nobody follow up with that.
Oh, whoa.
Because they don't want, like the women in my experience are refusing to be on matchmaking sites.
Now if they got men on there, I could tell all my friends they there.
The men are there. What I'm trying to say is like they're there.
They're there. I just want to say that
Now it costs. But when
we
you talk
heard
about
that.
the dating,
it costs. Y'all hear that?
He keeps saying it.
Costs.
you talk
It
about
costs.
all the clothes you're gonna spend to get ready for a date, all the money you're gonna spend in the months of getting heartbreak, all the time you spent.
You basically saying it's cheaper to go this way.
To go to a man who's already solidified, all the finance you ever wanted, all the things you asked for, you get the cheat code to get to him.
Okay. He got
No,
He's got stock. He's got stock somewhere with somebody. I don't know who.
convinced.
I don't know
It
who.
costs.
I don't got no stock.
He's got inside information. There's an IPO coming up for somebody. He's got,
I'm a
like, I
logical
don't know.
person, so I'm like,
I
when
dig it
when I hear
straight.
that the dating
I
pool
dig
got
it.
pee in it and stuff, I'm like, okay, well, go to somewhere where the water's fine.
So how do you guys feel about this Mosaic matchmaking
not.
service?
It's a cool option.
Okay.
If that's the route you want to take it.
Okay.
We're just not as passionate and vocal about it as he is.
Okay.
That's all
right.
that is.
Okay.
I think you can go to therapy.
Get
Get healthy.
I mean,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
guarantee
you know
these
what I'm
women
saying?
went to therapy.
All right. I just want to thank all three of you for being vulnerable, for being open, for being a part. I had no idea what was going to come from this, but I think it's going to be great conversation for somebody else to have, and great shifting of the mind. I never had that perspective about mixed people at all, and I just didn't think that way. But I'm gonna reevaluate some of the things and some of the ways that I project onto them. So.
Or you could have one of your shows. You can actually have mixed people come in and just talk
that's
about
a good one.
The dichotomy of like, okay,
yeah, because I'm sure they got struggles that I ain't even thought of.
Yeah, because I feel like they've never had the opportunity to be vocal about it.
You're right.
Because it's been
you're right.
You're black.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Thank you, Caleb.
Praise God.
Thank
For
you,
sure.
Elijah. Thank you, Street. And guess what? Caleb prefers what? Because I don't want nobody black women.
Where the white women at?
Why we trying to help you out? Why you do that, dog?
We was ending on a good note.
Hey, now they gonna be in the
want them to
comments.
come for
saying,
you.
I ain't tripping. And I'm going to respond to every single last one of them.
All right.
What's going on, y'all? It's Ezekiel Azonwus, and thank you for tuning in to We Need to Talk. This is more than a podcast. This is a platform for healing, for deliverance, for breakthrough, for understanding. Look, if you want to share your story on this channel, all you have to do is email us at TheAzonwus@gmail.com, TheAzonwus@gmail.com. The email is in the description. It's also written at the bottom of this screen. We cannot wait to hear your story. We prefer it in audio or video form. And the best way to send it is through a link like Dropbox or even an unlisted YouTube link. We cannot wait to hear your story. We look forward to maybe even having you on our channel. All right, peace.